Jim Sailsbury is our pal, covers them for the NBC Sportsnet down in Philadelphia. Always a pleasure. Jim, always good to have you with us. Lots to do today. First off, it's kind of fun. I think the Phillies get a big break here. They're almost in a vacuum right now with everybody wrapped up on Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz, and Nate Sundveld. So they can go about their business a little quietly with everybody all wrapped up on the Eagles' conclusion. I think that's an advantage. What's your take on that? Let me hear.
Yeah, the Eagles always kind of rule the day down here, Chris. And, folks are, keyed up on them right now. But, hey, we're 5 weeks away from spring training. And Philadelphia fans don't like to lose in any sport. And the Phillies have not had a winning season since 2011. So the heat is still on here, even though the focus is still on, them firing Doug Peterson, what's going to happen with Carson Wentz. People care about the Phillies, and they are tired of going home in October, and they want to play in October this year. Still, JT Realmuto is still out there. That's a big focus, Chris.
All right, let's get back to Dombrowski for a sec. Was that a hire that was well received? I mean, he's won a lot, and he's a win-now GM, so I would think most Philly fans were happy with that decision. Let me hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it was very well received. In a lot of ways, it was like the Joe Girardi hire a year ago. In consecutive off seasons now, this team has gone out and hired pretty much the most accomplished guy on the market, most accomplished baseball man available. Last year, they go out and get Joe Girardi. This year, they get Dave Dombrowski. I don't think you can argue with either guy's track record. 6 World Series rings between them, 21 playoff appearances between them. Girardi as a player and a skipper, and Dombrowski as a front office executive. So both of them know how to get to October. Both of them know how to win in October. It's just about putting enough pieces around them. But I think around town, people feel like they got a guy who really knows what they're doing in Dave Dombrowski, and eventually will do a lot of good things here. There might be this reset right now with the pandemic and the uncertainty. But, the Phillies are still going to be a team that's going to try to win titles and spend money once we kind of clear this pandemic and all this uncertainty.
All right, Realmuto, they haven't burned any bridges. The Mets are now out. He has not played the market. His agents did not play the market well. So I don't know where exactly he is going to go. I mean, I would think the Phillies have an excellent chance to retain him. What can you tell me about that?
I would agree with you. I think the market has really cooperated with the Phillies in terms of bringing back JT Realmuto. You mentioned the Mets. I mean, that was a big potential landing spot, and they go out and get James McCann. So, we're 5 weeks from spring training. It's January 12th. He is still out there. I still think there's a chance he could end up right back here. A couple years ago, he sort of ended up in their lap when you remember that the Miami Marlins were having trade talks with a number of different teams, Cincinnati, the Dodgers, the Braves, the Mets, and nothing materialized over the winter. And a week before spring training, he's a Philly. I think this market has shaped up in such a way that, closer to spring training, he could end up right back here. And, back in maybe November, there was pessimism about the Phillies retaining Realmuto and Didi Gregorius. I think now, as we get closer to spring training and the way this market has developed, there's at least a chance that they could end up bringing back both guys. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think they're engaged with both guys. I think there's a chance, and I think if you bring back those two guys, it sort of changes the complexion of their entire winter in that at least now you have a lineup. Go to work on that pitching staff and see what happens.
All right, the Mets have been very active. We all know that. Lindor, the Nationals have been not major market busy, but busy. The Phillies haven't done a whole heck of a lot. I do like Alvarado, who's got a big arm from Tampa, but they've been a little quiet. That's a big market. You mentioned the fact they're competitive, the fan base, everything else. They probably realize that with the Mets doing what they're doing, if they want to stay up with them, they're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive than maybe they originally thought with the new Met owner. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think that's been kind of in their, field of vision now for months. The entire division, the entire league, even across town in the Bronx. I think people have been very aware of what Steve Cohen will bring to the Mets, and he's gone out and they've had a very good winter. I mean, you add Francisco Lindor, you add Carrasco, a very competent major league starter who's going to be, 2 or 3 in that rotation. James McCann behind the plate. Lindor at shortstop and still the possibility of George Springer. You've done a nice job in the middle of your diamond. So yeah, it's someone, a team the Phillies have to be leery about. And I think the Lindor situation, it brought up a lot of electricity to New York. It puts a little heat on here in Philadelphia to stay close, but they still need to get after that bullpen. You mentioned Alvarado. To me, he comes with a lot of fine print, big arm, but why did a really smart front office move him down in Tampa Bay? What do they know that we don't know? They added Sam Coonrod, another big arm out of San Francisco. Command problems. Both these guys are lottery tickets. Big velocity. Maybe new pitching coach here, Caleb Cotham, can help them reel in command a little bit. But they still need to do more in the bullpen, and they could really use some starting pitching depth in that rotation, Chris. They get Realmuto and Gregorius back. They got a lineup, but they still need to go to town on that pitching.
100%, Jim. Always a pleasure to talk to you. You keep it up. You keep in touch. We'll talk to you as we get a little closer to spring training. Thanks very much today.